Well, welcome to the Ideas Pod on IMEC, the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. And I'm very happy to be joined here with an eminent businessman and an eminent European diplomat. Let me start and say that when Prime Minister Modi visited Washington, D.C., and had a very good meeting with President Trump, they were on the podium and they talked about India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. And President Trump said that he is very excited about a new, beautiful trade route from India, Israel to Italy. Perhaps a new golden road which retraces the golden road from the Roman times and bringing it back. Now, we have heard a lot about economic corridors, but what we don't hear is the business case for this economic corridor and why it makes sense. And I'm really happy and privileged to have you here, President Parisi, Francesco Parisi of the Trieste Business Association, who's leading the effort from the European side, from the Italian side of this India, Israel, Italy, new golden road. So what are your thoughts, Mr. President?
We have been observing the signature of the IMEC back in September 2023, and we were immediately very interested in this new idea, in this new concept, this memorandum of understanding which was signed between India, the Emirates, Saudi Arabia, France, Germany, and Italy. European Union and USA. And Italy is the only one of the three European signatories that faces only the Mediterranean. France and Germany face Mediterranean and Atlantic Sea. For us in Italy, it's extremely important to develop this corridor. And the importance of the corridor is to create alternative routes to the Suez Canal, which has shown to be fragile. And if the routes, the land bridge is functioning, then the supply chain managers around the world will trust again that this is a viable connectivity between the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean.
Let me ask Ambassador Vlahutin. Ambassador, you were the European ambassador for connectivity. And the new diplomats and politicians often make the mistake of creating new economic corridors while they're looking at history and figuring out where the most important corridors were and then either recreating or supporting those. So there is no corridor greater than this golden road, which from the Roman times, which before Christ, was a place where India was 20 to 30% of global GDP, and the Roman trade between India and Rome, the Indo-Mediterranean trade, paid for almost 30% of the Roman Empire's budget annually, just on the taxes on the customs of this trade. So in some ways, from the European global gateway perspective, the European way of doing infrastructure, how do you think this particular corridor shapes up and what's its future in you?
I think this is, to be very honest, the first truly strategic thinking when it comes to connectivity in the past many years. And what also helped understand the importance of this is the fact that the Northern Corridor was basically gone with the Russian attack on Ukraine. And there was a clear need, and then, of course, problems with Suez and the Red Sea, and a clear need to secure alternative or new routes. And what added to it is the European need to diversify and de-risk. And India, as you very well know, is one of key partners in this endeavor. We really hope, I really hope that the FTA is going to be concluded soon, so that this gets sort of a framework, a larger framework to help
European Union
exactly India
free trade agreement.
Exactly, yes. European Union free trade agreement, so that there is an additional element to this. But I really, from the very first day, I absolutely believe in this project. And what is most important is that everybody who is on this route has strategic interest in this route. And I think this is a key element of the success. We can talk a little bit later on the division between the private sector and institutional support, etc. But I would, if I had to bet on something, I would bet on this one.
So it's important to know that historically, the Indo-Mediterranean trade went up the Red Sea, but also the Persian Gulf. And now with Suez Canal, it does go up the Red Sea predominantly. But what this corridor proposes to do is to build rail and road networks across the Arabian Peninsula to be a complement, not a substitute, but a complement to the Red Sea route. Now, in so doing, it transformed the West Asia from a land of conflict to a land of trade and commerce and peace and prosperity, where UAE, Saudi Arabia, Israel are all working, as you said, in their own interest to support this. But this is for the layperson who's going to view this ideas pod. We got to say, for them, what does it mean? I mean, what the trading is going to be right now. So there is a digital cable that goes through right now, Blue Raman. This is the kind of a proof of concept of idea. But from the Trieste parts, what are you going to be trading with India? What are you hoping that India would be trading with Italy? And how will that change Indian people's lives who are going to listen to this as a result of this new Golden Road, Mr. Parisi?
Well, Italy is one of the signatories of the IMEC, but the proposal that is brought forward now also by the government and by the diplomacy, Italian diplomacy, is to make Trieste the gateway of IMEC. And Trieste is a port which serves Central and Eastern Europe, which is the part of Europe which is growing most and fastest, and therefore it is a port.
If I may, just 1 minute. So Trieste is at the head, at the northern tip of the Adriatic.
It's the most northern
and because
Mediterranean port.
Yes, the most northern, and because it's the most northern Mediterranean port, it is about 400 kilometers from Milan, from Zurich, from Munich, from Prague, from Bratislava, from Vienna, and 500 from Budapest. So your point is that it is the nearest port to the industrial heartland of Europe, and so as India wants to be a manufacturing and work with Germany for building manufacturing, and Italy is the second big manufacturing, that's how it would benefit.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly. That is the point. And the port of Trieste has grown together with the nearby ports of Koper and Rijeka. It was the port range which has grown most in the last 10 years in Europe, and this is because of the consequences.
It's the fastest growing Mediterranean port right now.
Yeah, exactly, and this is because of the consequences of the fall of the Iron Curtain first, and second, the joining of the European Union of all hinterland countries. So the port of Trieste has new infrastructure for dry goods under construction, and in 5 years' time, the capacity for dry goods will double, and the train connectivity is extremely well advanced. The ambassador said yesterday we have already exceeded 50% of cargo arriving and leaving the port by rail, which is the objective of 2050 of the European Union.
So, Ambassador Vlahutin, one of the great economically dynamic part of Europe right now is in the eastern and central countries. They are from Poland, from Estonia, from Finland. I mean, Estonia, Baltics, down Poland through, of course, Croatia, Vienna, through Croatia, your home country, of course. And so in this context, there is this 3 Cs initiative, which is to sort of improve the connectivity between the Black Sea, the Baltic Sea, and the Adriatic. So this is the economic dynamic engine of Europe. And Trieste connects the 3 Cs initiative to IMEC, and by so doing, extends IMEC all the way to Finland and brings Finland and Poland all the way down to India. I think the significance of this, as we walk in, and we've got a friend here from Poland, Slavik Debski, talking about it, I think it'd be good to hear what the Indian viewers ought to understand how big a deal that is.
I mean, it's a major deal. There are two things that are happening in Europe. First, you said the growth on sort of central and northern borders of the European Union, and also basically a complete change from what was east-west logic to north-south. Again, Russian attack on Ukraine has basically blocked that way towards east, and everything is now north-south, and there is a lot to be built there as well, because in the previous decades that was not the case. So there will be a lot of investment in critical infrastructure in that part of Europe. And the second thing is, after many years or many decades, Mediterranean again, I think, is the central sea for Europe. So there is a major outlook towards the south. There are two basically southern routes. One will go directly to Africa, of course, and one is IMEC, which goes towards India.
The new Golden Road.
The new Golden Road. But this is extremely important, as you know, that there is a lot of sort of disinvestment from China. There is a lot of European private sector people who want to invest somewhere else. But that's not easy if you don't have all the right ingredients for it. So if India is to be further developed as an alternative manufacture hub, then you really need to invest in critical infrastructure.
So we have 2 minutes, and I want to say what's next, okay? So I want to, Mr. President there, Mr. Parisi, you are talking about holding a business summit of India, Israel, and UAE and European in Trieste to support this thing. Hopefully India will take a steering committee to sort of support IMEC and the new Golden Road going forward. It'll feature very prominently in relation between U.S., India, U.S., Israel, U.S., Italy. But I want to give you two last words, is to say, what do you expect to see at the next Raisina in 1 year? What advancement do you do? So if you do this next year again, what would you tell to the reader, this is what we accomplished? Very quickly.
In 1 year, we have to know a little bit more what kind of infrastructure and investment are going to come along this corridor, because this is an important part, especially on the Arabic Peninsula.
Okay, but you would like to have the businesses at least talking to each other and figuring out how it's going to help. Yeah. Ambassador Vlahutin.
I really expect that the institutions will come with very clear instruments of how to support this. One is the question of standards, norms, and interoperability, so that's on the soft connectivity, and the other one is money, and how they are going to support and guarantee for massive investment that is needed in this. With instruments that we have, I don't think it can work. So I think we will have to have a bit more imagination and think of how do we create some kind of dedicated infrastructure fund, or how to use some other funding that is going to be available for this type of really a major undertaking.
So I think what you're saying is that there's tremendous amount of enthusiasm, and we need a lot more work, but I have to make a very more positive. I think without even the government getting involved, without the infrastructure happening, the very fact that the economies of India, the Middle East, Israel, and Europe are not only growing but also trading, that itself, if nothing happened, yes, you'll be here next week in next pod talking about this and saying you've already held a summit of businesses in Trieste, that you have made as hopefully a secretariat here, identified both the infrastructure and the regulatory bottlenecks, and made substantial progress towards it. To hear more, check in next time. That's the end of this Ideas Part. Thank you very much.
Thank you.